Hey there, I'm Andrea Olson with Go Diaper Free, and I'm going to record episode 137 right now for my podcast, Why and How We Skipped Naked Observation Time, a guest post with Natalie Robbins. Here we go. Welcome to the Go Diaper Free podcast, where we're all about helping you potty your baby as early as birth. I'm your host, Andrea Olson, author and mom of 5 babies, all EC'd from birth, all out of diapers by walking. This is episode 137, Why and How We Skipped Naked Observation Time, a guest post with Natalie Robbins. So yes, today we have a guest post from another of our lovely certified coaches, Natalie Robbins. You can read the written version of today's show over at godiaperfree.com/137, where I'm also going to link to Natalie and all the things we mentioned in today's episode. We will also be replying to comments over there, so if you have any questions, come on by when you're finished. So when you're getting started with elimination communication, observation time is a crucial component. However, I would go so far to say naked observation time can actually be avoided entirely. Naked time can be a great tool for getting to know your newborn baby's signals, and especially helpful if you're starting with an older baby or potty training to sweep that mini potty underneath them mid-pee. But if it's too cold to leave your baby undressed, or maybe you aren't too keen on the potential mess, you'll be glad to learn that you may be able to avoid naked observation time without hindering the observation process. So today I'm going to share 5 equally effective alternatives to naked observation time so you can learn your baby's signals and jumpstart or improve your EC practice. Before that though, let's share several reasons why you may choose to skip naked time like we did and peek into our thought process around the whole thing. Why you might skip naked observation time. So there are several reasons you might consider limiting naked time. When we first started EC, our primary reason to skip it was because it was winter and the house was too cold. But depending on the age of your baby, there are other perks to keeping your baby clothed. First, especially with a boy, you might be worried about getting peed on or where the stream might go. Totally legitimate. And next, if you're wanting to preserve your carpet or your furniture, you're not alone. And next, cleaning up puddles or worse isn't the most exciting chore. And lastly, maybe you just take way too many pictures of your baby. Who doesn't? I think I have like 25,000 pictures on my phone right now. How about you? And maybe you want to share these pictures with your family on social media, but not if baby is always naked in them. The list could go on. So if you checked one or more of these boxes and aren't sure about naked observation, that's 100% okay. You can still do observation and EC very successfully. Here in a minute, I will explain those 5 alternatives you can use, but let's first chat about 2 types of observation. The first one is the initial observation phase. This is your first shot at EC and you're trying to learn your baby's signals, and you can read about some signals you might look out for over on the show notes. I've got a little link there, godiaperfree.com/137. You're also learning your baby's natural timing at this time and figuring out when and how to potty your baby. While you can start with some of the easy catches, my favorite is pottying at wake-ups. If you want to quickly get in tune with your baby, you may want to do several hours or even a day or 2 of observation to start. During this initial observation, using the backups listed in a moment, or doing naked observation, will be important for the most accurate understanding of your baby's signals and timings. You may also want the Go Diaper Free book or the Newborn Mini course as a resource for your journey, and both of those are linked over the show notes. You may need to dive in deeper with observation like this after a reset, which there's a link to an article about resets over in the show notes, after a break from EC, or after a transition from part-time to more consistent EC practice, also linked over in the show notes. The second type of observation is regular maintenance. So while I do continue to observe as needed, I have not carved out intentional observation time since the first 2 weeks when we started EC. Instead, I integrate that awareness into my daily life and take notes only as needed. If you jump into EC with the easy catches and find no need for more intense initial observation, this maintenance type of observation might be for you. You can use any type of backup for this maintenance observation, but the ones I describe below will make it easier and more accurate. For our family, regular maintenance consists of counting every miss as observation time, which gives it a positive spin instead of seeing it as a disappointment. If I reflect on things right after a miss, many times I realize she actually had been signaling. I just didn't notice it. So I add that to my mental list of signals and try to keep it in mind for next time. Also, taking mental note of the time and intervals between pees on a daily basis. Okay, it's 10 o'clock now, so I think she'll need to go around 10:45. Wow, okay, nothing until 11 o'clock. She can hold it an hour now. Mental notes. Next, using training pants for a portion of the day from 6 months and up. When we switched to trainers full-time at 10 months, it was so helpful for staying in tune. So using training pants during regular maintenance can be helpful to limit mess. And then lastly, doing more focused observation times whenever our rhythm is off or when her timing is changed. Instead of taking the diaper off, I go about my day as usual, but recording times and signals for every pee or misses or catches becomes what I do for that day. Wait, so is naked time a bad thing? No, not necessarily, but it can be. I know that sometimes leaving baby naked is just easier than re-diapering, and it can be helpful for little ones to try to use the potty independently before they can manipulate clothing well. So it can be helpful for these little ones to leave them naked. In those instances, among others, it may be fine. But if your child is peeing everywhere and anywhere while naked, and you let them, you'll be teaching them it is acceptable behavior. Using a backup, especially for mobile baby, is key to avoiding this dilemma. And some babies actually don't signal unless they are clothed, which means they might not signal during naked observation time, but if your baby is wearing a backup of some kind, they get that wet feedback after they pee and may be more likely to signal as well. Also, when your baby is older, more aware, and more conscious of his or her body, touching private parts when naked is not uncommon. If you are concerned about possible hygiene issues in the genital area, putting a backup on is a quick fix. At our house, we occasionally risk naked time immediately after a catch in the potty for an amount of time that we know we can trust our baby to stay dry, and then put a backup on before the next time she's likely to pee. In the first 10 months of our EC journey, from 3 to 13 months old, we experienced one full accident on the floor, only one. I was shocked at how huge the puddle was from that miss on our hardwood floor because I'd never seen a full pee miss ever. By using an appropriate backup for observation or diaper-free time, I hope you will have a similar experience. All right, now 5 options for naked observation time with EC. Essentially, we used a non-waterproof backup of some kind that absorbed the miss, but still allowed us to immediately see and feel when it was wet. It's totally effective for observation time and much less mess is involved. You still want to protect your carpet and your furniture during observation since these backups absorb most of the mess, but they aren't waterproof. In the beginning, we would lay down towels or puddle pads, and as our baby got older and more mobile, we used foam squares like those in the image she's got here. Over at the show notes, go diaperfree.com/137. You'll see those behind all the trainers. As our baby got older and more mobile, we used these foam squares that are easy to wipe down or simply let her play on a hardwood floor instead. I also recommend dressing your baby in t-shirts instead of onesies for observation because the onesies would get all wet, right? Check out my pattern to transform a onesie into a tiny t-shirt. The link is in the show notes. This allows you to change your baby from the waist down after a miss instead of changing the whole outfit. Here are the options, 5 options. Option 1, commando. Forget the diaper and dress your baby in pants only and a t-shirt. This is not a very absorbent backup, but it's great if you're just getting started. We went this route the first couple days when we first started EC at 3 months old. Commando is not an absorbent option. So during observation, we laid baby on a folded bath towel with a plastic trash bag underneath. The towel acted as the absorbent layer when baby was in the swing or doing tummy time on the carpet or laying on my lap and allowed us to avoid a stressful cleanup. In our day-to-day EC, we sometimes go commando after a potty tunity or wet diaper because it's easier than re-diapering, but it still functions as a backup of some kind. Option 2 is sumo style. Quickly realizing that a little more backup would create a little less mess, we switched to sumo style diapering. We used old t-shirts and a homemade diaper belt. See my t-shirt hack over at the show notes. And leggings. A burp cloth or cloth diaper flat or pre-fold would also work fine in that homemade diaper belt. Misses often leaked a bit from the side, so we typically used towels underneath, but created less dirty towels than when we were going commando, so it was a little bit better. Option 3, cloth diaper without a cover. Fitted diapers, a flat or pre-fold that is attached with pins or a snappy, or any type of cloth diaper that baby can wear without the waterproof covering, is perfect for observation time. We personally never went this route since our cloth diapering consisted of just a pre-fold inside a cover, but if you have fitteds or other cloth diapering options, just use those. If you put on a waterproof cover, you can't see or feel when baby is wet, unless you deliberately touch inside the diaper to check. Though this may be fine for your regular maintenance observation once you're already in tune with your baby. Typical leak-proof cloth diapering is not ideal for the initial observation phase, so maybe skip it. And option 4, training pants. As soon as baby is mobile, training pants for observation are really the way to go. They are so easy for baby to move around in and to take on and off during stand-up changes. We started using them occasionally around 6 months, even before our baby was crawling. This is our favorite and most commonly used observation backup. And since we switched to tiny trainers, where there's a link over in the show notes. And by the way, if you're wondering if they're worth it, you can check out her review video over on YouTube, also linked in the show notes. For our daytime backup, at 10 months, they switched to tiny trainers all day, every day. And all of the time in tiny trainers is potentially observation time. I like training pants the best because they look the most attractive. They fit really nicely under clothing, unlike sumo, and prevent a mess, unlike commando. Also, because of the bold colors of the tiny trainers, we notice a miss immediately, even from across the room. And she's referring to the aqua blue and blackberry purple colors. And the 5th option is disposable diapers. This is not the most ideal backup for observation for several reasons, but it could be a good option in some instances. If you dress your baby in a disposable diaper and a t-shirt, you can see the diaper at all times. So a t-shirt, not a onesie. Hear me out. Why use disposables for observation? Well, first, they create the least amount of mess on your floor. They're an actual diaper after all, so you can lay your baby anywhere or let them crawl around without worrying about a miss or a mess. Second, and this is key, you have to use the ones that have a super handy yellow line that turns blue immediately when they are wet. After one pee, just usually the front part of the diaper shows the blue line, but it's still enough to tell. And third, you can feel when the diaper is wet without having to touch the inside part like I do when baby's in a cloth diaper. When it's wet, disposable diapers feel squishy and gross. After not using disposables for quite a while, I've become really sensitive to this. And I can hardly tolerate feeling this warm, wet squishiness while holding my baby if I'm not in position to change her right away. Fourth, you could actually smell when the diaper is wet, since they actually have chemicals in the diapers designed to react in this way. If you're used to using disposables all the time, you may not notice the smell. But once we stopped using them for a bit and then used one occasionally, we certainly did. Disposable diapers may be less ideal for observation for a few reasons. Well, first, because they absorb the wetness well, so your baby may not signal as clearly, although for a bit, our baby actually signaled better in disposables. Since you're less worried about a mess, you may be more likely to get distracted and not notice when your baby wets a disposable diaper, or you might delay changing them because the diaper isn't that wet. And they create more waste, obviously, and are more expensive, obviously, especially if you're going through 10 or more diapers a day. But depending on your circumstances, disposables are also a possible observation backup. Check out biodegradable diapers here, says Andrea, linked on the show notes at godiaperfree.com/137. They also have the blue-yellow line and are better for the environment. Ready, set, observe. All right, your child is in a cotton, non-waterproof backup, maybe a disposable, and you are ready to dive in to your easy practice or continue your practice of it. Grab your observation log over at the show notes and get ready to jot down your baby's signals before, during, or after a pee, and just note how long, what's the interval in between. Whether you're just getting started, starting after a break in EC, or just diving deeper into your EC practice, just remember to enjoy this observation time as an opportunity to connect with your little one, while at the same time getting more in tune with their pottying needs. Win-win. Best of luck. Now I'm curious, what is your favorite backup for observation time? Either focused observation or the daily maintenance type, and why? Let us know in the comments over at the show notes at godiaperfree.com/137. And this is Andrea here. A huge thanks to Natalie for another amazing guest post. Check out all of her posts over at our site. She's super helpful. We'll see you over the show notes. Till next time, we would love to talk to you about, I'm not going to actually tell you what the next show is about, but we do have several upcoming in a series about the pros and cons of starting at different ages. So stay tuned for those and more. Happy pottying, y'all. I'm Andrea Olson, and you've been listening to the Go Diaper Free podcast at godiaperfree.com. We'll see you next time. All right. So you guys, please leave a comment below. What's your favorite backup for observation time and why? And hit subscribe and like, because the more subscribers and likers we have, the more people actually find out about EC in the world, which is really important. All right. See you guys next time.